Free agency continues on day 2 here around 2:30 when I'm recording this video, so I'm keeping you up to date. Lions signed a player or re-signed a player. What's going on? What does the media think? What's going on with the Detroit Lions? The latest rumors. Let's get it on right now. Let's go. So it was a little bit of movement. It's a little bit of movement. The Detroit Lions re-signed a player. According to Dave Burkett of the Detroit Free Press, the Lions are re-signing defensive lineman Myles Adams to a 1-year deal. The Lions signed Adams to a 53-man roster off the Seahawks practice squad. Previously, Adams had spent over 4 years in Seattle, playing in 26 games, one career start. When he was added to Detroit, he ended up playing 4 games down the stretch as injuries mounted on the defensive line. He finished with 4 tackles, 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, and a Well, again, who is he? You say, who is he? Myles Adams, 6'2", 285, out of Rice, 27 years old. A lot of guys that we had on the team, especially in the year, we didn't know a lot about. Right, we're adding guys. He is a player that is going to compete for the 53-man roster. This is what he did with Detroit. So he didn't do a whole lot because the end there, the contract, bottom feeder contract, nothing huge of that sort. He's just going to be a camp body as of right now and compete. And I have no problem with getting the camp bodies. There's no issue there for me. That's not a big deal. But I think we're still waiting for the bigger names to come at some point. When's the big names going to come? When are the Detroit Lions going to add to the defensive line that's not somebody connected or like a re-sign we just talked about right there in Myles? Grade this signing A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to just give this a camp body signing of a B. It's nothing to, scream about or go crazy about. It's a camp body signing. It can't hurt from that aspect. Pride Detroit dropped an article for their players that's best available for Detroit. Now, Matthew Judon, we've been talking about Judon. I even talked about it, I think, a little bit this morning as a pass rusher. Did a pass rusher list. This one makes sense to me. That's a name that I was hearing potentially could be, we're losing names. We're losing names, but Judon could be a guy. Don't know if it's going to happen. That's all we got from here. Brendan Scherff, no word on Kevin Zeitler yet. That's something I thought would happen by now. We don't know about Kevin Zeitler. We got to wait and see. He could be an option if Zeitler doesn't re-sign. Tyler Lockett here, I guess, for a Tim Patrick scenario. Could the Lions look for a Tyler Lockett? I think he'll go to the Raiders. Why? Because it looks like Seattle's moving to the Raiders right now, right? You got Geno Smith. Tyler Lockett makes sense over there. He was a good receiver. He's older. I'd still go with Tim Patrick. Justin Reid, Kansas City Chiefs. This could make sense now. Ifutu Melifonwu, he went and signed with the Miami Dolphins. I think the Lions could just go in a direction of a rookie, be a cheaper, but that's another name to keep an eye on. Dre'Mont Jones, Seattle Seahawks. Indeed, another defensive lineman. We've talked about him in the past. 100% he's going to be on this list. Wide receivers, I don't see too much of anything there. Tight ends, I think we're good. Obviously, offensive linemen are good. Interior offensive linemen. Again, the Zeitler stuff. Edge, Joey Bosa, Von Miller, DeMarcus Lawrence. There's other names to keep an eye on. Justin Simmons at safety. I know a lot of people liked him picking up this last offseason cornerback. Jeff Okudah. That would be funny. And Kendall Fuller, he's the bigger one. Again, this is just talking about Detroit. Jock City did an article here talking about free agency day 2 is a massive disappointment. Free agency day 1, right? We got DJ Green, so that was a pretty good signing, but everyone's expecting the Lions to go defensive, edge at some point, and we didn't do it. Now we get Miles Adams, who we just, re-signed. We talked about it. Iffy, he left to Miami. Do you think that this is a disappointing free agency right now? Because I see two sides to the coin that's taking place. One hand, we're not spending a lot of money because we have to re-sign our own guys and build to the draft. The other hand is we're really close to competing for a Super Bowl. Let's take a chance. Let Brad Holmes cook. Right now, I got to be honest with you. I want to get an edge. Now, there's still edges on the market. I'm disappointed that we don't got one. That's my personal opinion, though. I would like to get an edge. That is something that I would like. So I'm disappointed from that. And the Lions do got cap space. And I understand about being fiscally responsible because we do got to pay like Herbig Joseph, down the road Brian Branch, all those guys. With that said, I think it would be smart to spend some of this money to get a veteran edge and to, obviously draft an edge as well. I really want to get this position locked down with a lot of bodies. We cannot afford to get decimated on this line. We can't. We got to give Aiden Hutchinson some help. What do you guys think? Are you disappointed? Put D if you're disappointed. C if you let Brad Holmes cook. Let me know your thoughts in the comments right now. Continue on. Derek Barnes spoke to the media, and we got some good news right there. He said he's fully recovered from his injury, and I know a lot of people were concerned about his contract and him coming back to the Lions, but you need to remember he was ascending before he got injured. He's been getting better year after year, and I thought if he had a full season last year that he would get probably a bigger deal than what we'd even expect. However, the injury occurred. He got the deal that he has, and I think he will be just fine. But it's great news to hear that Derek Barnes is fully recovered from his injury. It's still a concern going forward. Obviously, you don't ever want to re-injure what you've already injured, right? Like an i.e. Marcus Davenport is an injury-prone player. Derek Barnes, this is just a type of injury that hopefully it doesn't lead to any more. But I'm just happy right now that he's fully recovered, and that's a big deal, right? We need this guy to produce for the Lions on the field. We need to have it happen. We need to have all our linebackers on the field, especially him, who can rush the passer. So he's going to be a big part of this defense, and it's important that he stays healthy. So it's a good update from him. Happy to hear about that. Now let's get into some funny news. An article came out from the ChicagoSports.com talking about that the Chicago Bears moves scared the Detroit Lions on Monday. All the moves at the offensive line, Chicago Bears, are scaring the league, specifically the Detroit Lions. Look, I understand that they got unlimited money, and this is what Amon-Ra St. Brown says. I feel like the Bears have unlimited money. His brother said co-hosted on St. Brown. That was a turn to 13. It's crazy, blah, blah, blah. Jonah Jackson, bang. Drew Dalman, bang. Deo, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. A crazy amount of money. Grady Jarrett, bang. They're breaking everybody. They're unlimited money. What in the F is this? Got me hot. This Ben Johnson just making moves left and right. The Detroit Lions have a reason to look over their shoulder. Folks, the Chicago Bears are always the offseason Super Bowl champions. Folks, the Chicago Bears are always the offseason champions. Every single year, they're going to come in and beat the Detroit Lions. Year in and year out, I hear this from the Chicago fan base. Every single year, articles come out like this every single time. Now, look, I do believe that the Chicago Bears got better, 110%. They're a better football team. They got the offensive line. They got Ben Johnson. But we're not scared of the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears, in my opinion, are still below the Minnesota Vikings. Still, they're probably in the mix right there with the Green Bay Packers. And I'm not scared of the Vikings or the Packers. I just think that the NFC North is a really good division. And Bears are better. They don't scare me. What happens if the Bears are a better football team? Is that necessarily really too bad for the Lions? Maybe they actually beat Green Bay and Minnesota. maybe they help the Lions out. I'm not scared of what Chicago is doing. I'm not scared of the moves that they're acquiring with the offensive line. They needed to make those moves. First off, Jonah Jackson is a player who was traded for a reason. He didn't work out so well for the Rams. Okay? Now, they did get a good player over there, right? They got a lineman from Kansas City that I've wanted on this team a couple years ago. That's some good moves. But I'm not scared of the team. I'm not going to go and freak out that I'm playing them. Matter of fact, as a Detroit Lions team, I'm not scared really of any team. We're a top contending team. We're a, what do you want to put it, a top 5 NFL team right now. You can, wherever you want to put it. Okay, so the Lions shouldn't be scared of any team. I think teams should be worried about their own acquisitions, and I think that teams need to worry about their own franchise. You know, last year it was the Packers. The Packers were ripping on the Lions, saying they're the team, blah, 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 blah. They're coming after our draft, our free agency. The Bears had all the hype that they're going to win the NFC North, and it's happening again. They've done well in free agency. I get that, but doing well in free agency doesn't make you go from a team that is, I don't know, a mid-team to a Super Bowl contender, and it just scares off the team. That's just not how it works. And so it continues like this with the Bears and the rest. Not scared of the Chicago Bears, and I highly doubt that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes is scared of the Chicago Bears. I doubt they're scared of any team. That's not something that, you know, just because they get some goes in free agency, they're going to jump in and just beat up on the Lions and be the champions. That's just not how it works. Folks, let me know your thoughts in the comments. With that said, folks, adios.